Well, every year as we start to think about habitat management, I start thinking about food plots. Food plots are one of those things where if you do it well, you have terrific hunting over that plot. And if you don't do it well, you don't. And so what I want to make sure that we do this year is take a couple of the lessons learned over the last couple of years, apply them directly to the plots that we're working on here this summer to make sure we have a great white-tailed deer season this fall. And first and foremost, we've got plots that didn't perform very well this last year. And so what we need to get in and do is get some new soil samples. I don't want to run off old data, I want to run off new data. So I'm going to get new soil samples, figure out what this soil needs from a fertilization standpoint. Do I need lime? Do I need things like that need to be added to the soil in order for this to really produce a solid plot? Because if I'm going to invest time and energy into the seed, into planting it, into irrigating it, all of those pieces, I darn sure better make sure the dirt is ready for it and it's going to perform. That'll give me the most value for my investment, and that'll be the best investment of my time. And I'm just going to make sure it's all right. So soil samples first and foremost on any and all the plots that didn't perform well. And then even on my top performers, I'm not really worried about total yield, but I do want to make sure that they're healthy. And so I am going to do some quick checks on soil sampling for all of the plots that I expect to be hunting over this fall, just to make sure it's cheap, it's easy. Take it to your local co-op and get that soil analyzed, and then you know what you've got to work with. So step one in our food plot planning for the year is making sure we've got the soil dialed in. So the second thing we're doing this year is we're going to strategically locate our food sources based on when we're going to be hunting the plot. So what I noticed last year is I'd be in the stand with the bow, and maybe that stand wasn't getting hit all that hard by the whitetail at that time of year, but maybe they were in my rifle stand locations, right? So I've got dedicated bow hunting areas out here with like the little plot behind me. It's about 40 yards across. Got a nice little ladder stand up in the tree. It's great bow hunting, but I never hunt this stand with the rifle, right? And so I need to make sure that whatever's planted in this plot is great and mature and driving deer activity when it's bow season. On the other side of things, I need to make sure that late season, we're talking November rifle season for white-tailed deer, I need to make sure I've got great food plots, thinking corn and beans and stuff like that, maybe with a rye cover crop over the top, overseeded late season to drive deer activity in those rifle plots. And I just noticed last year that we didn't necessarily have the right plots, the right stuff in the plots to drive activity for that particular season. And it was a little frustrating because I'd be sitting here looking at cameras in the morning and the deer would be on my rifle plot and I planned to bow hunt that night, or vice versa. So we're going to strategically be looking at making sure that all of our plots have the appropriate food plot in them to make sure that when we're hunting them, they're going to be mature and driving deer activity based on what we've learned the last couple of years, right? So then beyond that, I've got some big plots that are my rifle plots. Well, those bigger food sources that need to drive deer activity in late season, they are also wide open, and I need to make the deer more comfortable in those plots. So we're putting in screens this year. I'm putting in this Egyptian wheat and sorghum blend that's going to be about an 8-foot tall screen that runs all the way down the side of my big field food plot. And that's going to allow me to keep the whitetail more comfortable, give them a place to get off and get some cover should they feel like they need it. And it's just going to provide maybe less eyes from the local road onto my plot. And that's always a positive thing. So our food plot plan for the year is really make sure we soil sample and get our soil dialed in before we invest all this money in seed. It's making sure we plant the right things in the plots for when we want to hunt them, whether that's bow season or rifle season. And we're adding some screens in this year to both make the deer more comfortable and also keep our food plots private and what's going on our farm private by putting in big screens along the side of our big plots. And I think with those steps that we're taking here this year, we're gonna have great success for whitetail here on our farm this fall.